have used it at least once in their lifetime, because it's a VLC Media Player is the OG player, video player. I think we all agree on that. So VLC Media Player is an open source software, and you can basically go through the code base or how the VLC Media Player is built and what technologies are used to build a VLC Media Player on GitHub. So that's what open source is. Um, Open source softwares are basically the softwares whose source code are freely available to download, inspect, modify, and enhance. So, for example, today you are watching a video in VLC Media Player, and you came across some unexpected situation or an issue which you think shouldn't be there in that application. So you can directly go to their repository or the project. We are going to talk more about what repository is, Git and GitHub, later on. But for now, we can like directly go to their repository, file an issue against that bug, and if you want, you can also solve that and send a pull request. So if your pull request is merged, that bug will be fixed, and all credit will be going to you. So that's basically advantages of open source softwares. Um, Next. Okay, so I thought why not play some game in the beginning, so that we can hype up the audience. So we're going. It's not some complex game. We are going to play a small game where you have to identify which software or tool the icon belongs to, and is it an open source or a closed source software. So I am opening the chat. So, oh, there's one answer already. Uh, okay, so before going to if it's a open source or a closed source, can anyone tell me what is this tool? Um, I'm, I'm pretty sure everyone knows this. Yeah, yeah, VLC Media Player. Correct, correct. So this is the VLC Media Player, and it's an open source software. Yes, you are correct. That was my first example. Uh, just a minute. Yeah, it's an open source software. Let's go to the next one. Can anyone identify this? Uh, okay, okay, we're getting some interesting answers. I was expecting this. Uh, okay, yeah, some of them guessed it correct. So, this is not Chrome, or you meant as Google Chrome. This is not Chrome. This is Chromium. It is an engine on which the modern day web servers run, like the browsers run. So, this is Chromium. Since for example, we have the V8 engine for Node.js, or for even for Chrome, it uses V8 engine to pass the JavaScript. In a similar way, we have this Chromium. It's an engine for the modern day web browsers, and I can see. Oh, we have mixed answers. It's some are telling closed and some are telling open source. So this is basically an open source project, and it has been participating in Google Summer of Code, if you've heard of it, very consistently. So yeah, this Chromium is an open source software. Let's go to the next one. Uh, I mean, who doesn't use this? Yeah, yeah, right. People guessed it correct. So this is GitHub, which is very much known for providing students with too much benefits. Like we have the GitHub Student Developer Pack, which provides a hell lot of things for free for students. Like if you're a student and you have a mail ID of your college, then you can simply avail all those benefits for free. So this this is an like people have guessed it correct. This is GitHub. So now can anyone tell me if it's an open source project or a closed source? Okay. Okay, I can see majority of are going for closed source. So I want to ask a follow-up question. Since all the projects you are seeing are on GitHub and it's open source, so don't you think GitHub is also open source? Um, cool, cool. Yes, you are correct. GitHub is not an open source, it's a closed source project and it's managed by Microsoft. So it's a product of Microsoft basically. And yeah, it's closed source. You can't access GitHub's code base in GitHub. So if you go for GitHub/GitHub, you'll find 404, I guess. So this is a closed source software. Cool. Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. Uh, This office, yeah, we can see that. So office and um, um, is it open source or closed source? I can see, yeah, majority of them have answered it correct. It's closed source. Again, it's a product of Microsoft and it's closed source. So Microsoft also has its open source projects. Major like there are many projects which are open source, but some of the huge projects are closed source, like MS Office or GitHub, for example. So these are the closed source softwares. So yeah, that's closed source. Wow. Okay. Can anyone identify this? I see Dhruv, Kartike, Isha. Oh, great. People identify this. Yes, it's Linux. And is it open source? Okay. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Correct. So Linux is a kernel on the top of which a large number of operating systems are being made. So Linux is just awesome. And yeah, it's open source. Uh, I think we have one more. Yeah. Um, oh, Himika, you are very fast. Uh, cool. So yeah, this is Android, and yeah, is it open source or closed source? Okay, we have mixed answers here also. Hmm. So I can see many of them are telling closed source, but I'm like, unfortunately, you are wrong because Android is also open source, but like the applications which are built on top of Android, those are closed source. Android is an open source project. You can surely check it out on GitHub. So Android, and these are examples of a couple of more open source projects. So the first one is okay. Let uh, I'll let you people guess what it is. Let's go for the first project. Okay, yeah. Shobit and Himika, you guys are awesome. Yes, this is the icon of Flutter. And can anyone guess this? Oh, man, lightning fast answers. Good, cool. Yes, this is Git. And the middle one? Okay, I see. Okay, no issues. So the middle one is Kubernetes. Wow, Vedant. Vedant to the rescue. So the middle one is Kubernetes, which is a container orchestration tool, which is used by almost all the FANG companies, I would say, even like Google, Apple, Microsoft, Red Hat, everyone uses Kubernetes because the current day trend is to like all the monolithic architectures are being migrated to microservice architecture. So Kubernetes plays an important role there, and yeah, it's very what do I say, amazing invention. It was originally a product built by Google, but now it's maintained by the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, if you have heard of it. Okay, and the yellow thing, this one, right, right, TensorFlow, yes. And this one, oh, it's self-explanatory. It's Firefox. Cool. Uh, let's move on to the next stage. Okay, now I am like going to share with you my open source journey. After that, we'll be learning about like how to get started with open source, or how to start contributing to open source, and what are the prerequisites. So my open source journey started from my college itself. So in the beginning, I said that I'm also into communities. So in my college, we have the Google Developer Students Club as well as Open Code. So I was a part of these two clubs from my second year, and we have multiple open source projects publicly available on GitHub. So I started contributing to these projects in my second year of study, and that's how my open source journey actually started. After that, I had a great time like contributing to projects in Hacktoberfest 2020. So Hacktoberfest is also a great program which encourages beginners to get started with open source. So Hacktoberfest generally occurs in the month of October, and uh, you can like during this time, if you search by the tag of Hacktoberfest and year name. So if you search by that tag, for example, Hacktoberfest 2020 tag on GitHub, you can see thousands of projects which are like will be having the tag, and they'll be participating in Hacktoberfest. Even large projects also participate in Hacktoberfest. I can see Adarsh has raised a hand. Um, okay, okay, cool. So, Hacktoberfest is a great program. During that time, I there were various projects that I contributed to, because uh, that time I was more into web development or the full stack development side of things. So I searched for the web-based or React-based projects, and I went to their GitHub repository, searched for beginner-friendly issues, and asked the maintainer to assign me the issue so that I can solve that and send a PR. So Hacktoberfest was a great what do I say, stepping stone towards my open source journey. And after that, in the month of November, I applied to the Winter of Code, a program which is organized by DSC NSCC, if you've heard of it ever. So it's a small program, but I mean, I was exploring stuff out. So at that time, also one more thing, I follow Kunal Kushwa a lot. I'm sure people here also might be following him. So during that time, we didn't have his videos, or like we didn't have his guidance videos. So I was like, let's try to explore things and figure stuff out on my own. So I went for it, and this I participated. Okay, so I participated in this Winter of Code program, which was a 2 months program. So that like the Winter of Code by DSC NSCC is to like even GSSOC similar program. So these help you to get acquainted with the process of like contributing to open source. So this was basically the same type of program. I contributed to a project named Edualgo, and yeah, it was a great time. after that, like in the month of this time, the Google Summer of Code, I'm sure like people here have heard of this name, Google Summer of Code. So the I'm going to talk about it later, what this is actually. But this year the timeline has changed a bit. I mean, it's getting delayed due to some reasons. So the student applications will be starting from March onwards, I guess. So previously, like for example, last year, the student application started from the month of Feb itself, but this time it's going to start from March. So there's still time. You can apply to it. So last year, the my GSOC story was a bit interesting. Like last year, in the month of February, I applied to one organization. I made the proposal. I was also contributing to that project beforehand. So uh, I submitted my proposal, and that organization also got selected because the general process of GSOC is first the organization register or apply to be a part of GSOC, and then students apply to those organizations. So the organizations were fixed already, like were shortlisted by Google, and the project ideas were also fixed. But the specific idea like to which I'm for which I made a proposal and submitted was like after during the like when the results got declared, I got to know that that particular project idea was removed because Google didn't have enough slots for it, because like I was contributing to an organization named Open Bioinformatics Foundation, and it's an umbrella organization. So it had previously it had 9 slots, but for unavailability of slots, it got reduced to 8. So my mentors, like under whom I was contributing in that organization, they asked me if you like want to work on the same proposal for the same timeline and you also get a stipend. So they also offered me that amount of stipend. So they said if you want to work with us as an external contractor, and yeah, I agreed. So basically it wasn't actual Google Summer of Code, but yeah, like I worked with the same organization and on the same proposal as an external contractor. So I mean, the GSOC tag is not that important. The important thing is what you learn and the exposure you get while contributing to open source projects. So that was my GSOC, not GSOC journey. And after that, I joined the Kubernetes community in the month of August. I guess, yeah, last year in the month of August, I joined the Kubernetes community, and till now I'm like working on stuff, maybe some automation ideas or maintaining projects and stuff. So Kubernetes community is also a great place to learn and grow. If you're into cloud computing or software development or technical writing, or if you're interested in automation stuffs and all, or web development, so we have all kind of projects there. So it's a great place for beginners to get started and contributing to open source. So like currently, this is the only organization where like I am sticking to this organization for quite a long time. Um, yeah, after that, I applied for the LFX mentorship program. So this is also a 3 months internship program conducted by the Linux Foundation, and uh, yeah, this is also not exactly like GSOC, but it's more beginner friendly. Like the program is designed such that beginners can get started into the world of cloud and open source. So I applied to the LFX mentorship program, got selected on a cloud native computing foundations project named Kaivanno, and I worked there for 3 months. And after that, like in the past month itself, I was also an MLH prep fellow. So MLH Fellowship is also a great program for uh, so there are like currently MLH has two types of programs. One is the actual fellowship, which is 12 weeks long, and the other one is the prep program, which is uh, 3 weeks long. Yeah. So basically, the advantage of being a prep fellow is that the next time you apply for MLH fellowship, your applications will be what do I say? It will be fast tracked. So you'll be given higher preference than the other candidates if you have successfully completed the prep program. So yeah, last month I graduated from the prep program, and here also you get to work on cool projects for the span of 3 weeks. And the main thing is you get to connect with people from all around the world, and you get to collaborate on issues. Basically you have to you can the issues that were assigned to you, so multiple, like 2 to 3 of them will be solving that issue. So in that way you'll learn how to collaborate on projects. So that was also a pretty great program. So that was my journey till now. This year I have some plans, so let's see how it goes. But till now, this has been my journey. And yeah, it was a roller coaster ride. Uh, do we get paid in MLH Prep program? No. The actual fellowship has some stipend, but MLH Prep doesn't have any stipend. So, yeah. And the fun fact, oh, sorry, not the fun fact. The what do I say? The good news is that currently all the programs are like the application period is going on. Like MLH Fellowship rolls out their applications all year long, but LFX mentorship program applications are also open, and it will be getting closed on 13th of February. So if folks want to apply to LFX mentorship program, he or she can surely do that. And Google Summer of Code applications are yet to open. Also, Outreachy, another program, that Outreachy's application are also open. So you can surely apply to that. Um, yeah. Are all these programs for first year only? No, no. Uh, the for these programs, the only condition is that you must be 18 plus years of age. So if you satisfy that criteria, then you are good to go to like apply to these programs. Um, yeah. So we'll be talking more about this later. Okay, so we have learned like what is open source softwares, and contributing to those softwares code base is called as open source contribution. So now you must be wondering why open source? Like, what do we get? Like, why should we do open source? So there are various reasons why you should like contribute to open source, but here are a few of them that I have listed. So the first one is open source really helps you to get real world experience in software development, because you get to contribute to projects which are actually being used by people on a large scale. So that will help you like that will help you give an early experience of what software development in general looks like. So that is one of the greatest reason why you should open like contribute to open source. And the second thing is you get to network with people, because until today in my open source journey, I have met many people. Um, okay, I am 17. I I don't think you. I mean, I as far as remember, 18 plus is the required criteria to apply to these programs. So yeah, you sure can wait till next year, I guess. Okay. So yeah, network with people. So networking is also another most important reason, because while networking you get exposure and you get to connect with people not only of your age group but also some senior software developers who are working at huge companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and many other. So that's one of the reasons. So you can share ideas. You can like in general, if you I'm not saying that you can get the required exposure in your college, but it's better. Like in college, you'll get peer group which will be having basically the same level of experience. But what if you get to connect with a person who has like 10 to 15 years of experience in software development? So his or her guidance will surely be valuable to you. So that's another important reason of why you should open source. And the third one is it can fetch you opportunities for sure, because if you do open source, like if you're contributing to a project, then you will be like you'll be in how do I say it? You'll be preferred higher than other candidates. For example, if you are applying for let's say a cloud computing role, like for platform engineer or site reliability engineer, and suppose you have worked on Kubernetes. So while you apply for that role, the interviewers must see that you have contributed to those projects which are actually in use in their companies. So of course they will give more preference to you than other people, like other candidates. So uh, that is another reason. And the fourth one is code in production. So for example, let's say you were working on a critical bug fix of a large project. Say you were working on a critical bug fix of uh, Chromium, and you send a PR and the PR gets merged. So as you can see, like the Chromium is being used under the hood by almost all the people in the world, those who have access to internet. So you can see, you get a satisfaction that your code is being used by millions of people. So that's like that surely motivates me the most to open source, because in this way you can bring a change, like in literal terms. So yeah, that's one reason. And the other one is put your skills into action. So for example, you started learning web development, and you started watching the tutorial videos, and you made some projects which were taught in that tutorial. Let's say a e-commerce site or a to-do list app or a weather application. But that's it. You just made the project and just left it then and there. So I mean, it's okay. Like for beginners, everyone does that. But after that, you have to test your skills. The skills that you have acquired through learning, you have to test those somewhere. So I can say like open source is one of the best way to test your skills you have acquired through your learnings. because the closed source softwares usually do not I mean, you can't access their code base, but open source project code base are open, so you can directly go there, and suppose you are learning React, so you can pick up a React based project and start contributing to it. So in that way you are doing open source as well as you are getting exposure in real life applications or software development. So that was the fifth reason. And the sixth one is it surely enhances your resume, because suppose you are contributing to some organization and you have mentioned it in your resume. So as you can see, when your resume goes through the screening process, people will see that yes, you have contributed to this and this project which are of large scale. So that will of course be a plus point and will give you an edge over the other candidates who have also applied for the same role. So I have listed only six reasons, but there are unlimited reasons why you should open source. And and I and one more thing I would like to say is the like open source is just not for students. Even like experienced professional working professionals are also contributing to open source in their part time. But the best time to start contributing is when you are in college, because once you get a job and start your corporate life, you won't get that much time. I mean, there are some companies who allow open source contribution as a part of your everyday job, but most of the companies do not allow you to uh, I mean, work on open source projects part time. So I mean, college is the best time to start contributing and networking with people. So those are some reasons on why you should contribute to open source. And okay, how to start contributing. So um, let's let's follow this procedure. First, you explore various projects which matches with your interest, the various open source projects. Now you must be thinking, you must have a question as how to find projects. And that was also one of my question when I started my open source journey. And the like one of the way to find projects is to explore these programs the open source programs like Girl Script Summer of Code or Google Summer of Code, MLH Fellowship, and Linux Foundation Mentorship, Linux Kernel Networking Mentorship, and Outreach. So GitHub Externship also there. So there are these programs help you find open source projects which are uh, welcoming to beginners. So um, it's obvious that if you are looking out for these programs, you are like thinking of applying to it. If you are searching about GSOC and the projects that participate in it, you must be thinking of applying to GSOC. So if you apply and get rejected, then there's nothing to worry about, because you can still contribute to those projects without even being a part of GSOC or any other such open source programs. Because right now, like, I'm also contributing to Kubernetes, but I'm not part of any GSOC or Linux Foundation mentorship program. Still, I'm contributing to it. So, one thing that I would like to say is open source, these open source mentoring programs doesn't necessarily mean open source, because this is not open source. Open source is contributing to any project without like uh, help of such mentoring programs. How for like example, you apply to let's say Kubernetes in Google Summer of Code and you get rejected. Still, you can contribute to that project because it's always open source. It has been always open source and it will be open source in future. So anytime you think you want to like gain skills and test out your knowledge, you can surely go there and contribute. So that was the first point. Like find projects based on your interest and skill set. And once you have found the project, let's say at max you take 2 to 3 organizations, because more than that will be like difficult to manage your time, because yeah, you have to dedicate some time into open source. So I would say maximum of 2 or at max 3 organizations whose project interests you the most, and after that join their community server. So every organization have a community server where all their general communication takes place. The server can be anything. It may be Slack, it may be Discord, it may be a Google group, it can be anything. So join their community server and go through their GitHub repositories, and look out for the issues labeled as good first issues, and ask the maintainer to assign you that issue. So good first issues. Okay, let me actually show you a demo. So if you're going for Kubernetes, so I have been open sourcing here for some time, and suppose Kubernetes project interests you the most. So what you can do is you can search for their communication server, and you can see there's Slack for it. So you can just go join their community server, and I must say before like Kubernetes is a really huge huge community. So don't feel like overwhelmed by seeing these many channels. So there are other things in Kubernetes too which you should like know before joining the community. So suppose Kubernetes as a project interests you, so you join their community, and you join the specific channels which like is relevant to the project you are contributing to. For example, I am interested in contributing to this website, like maintenance of this website. So we have a channel called Sick Dogs here, as you can see. So this is the main channel where every discussion related to the website stuff is done in this channel. So you can just join this channel and ask questions. And meanwhile, what you can do is you can go to their repository. So the repository is, so this is the repository for Kubernetes website. So like this whole website is built on Hugo, and this is the repository for the same. So you can go to the issues section, and in the labels you can just filter the label by good first issue. And oh wow, please run a good first issue. Oh yeah, so without space. So it varies from organization to organization, because some will be having good hyphen first hyphen issue as a label, and some will be having good space first space issue as label. So here you can see these are the good first issues. So good first issues are those issues which do not require any prior knowledge of the project or the organization to start contributing. So you can like anyone can contribute to these issues. So this is the like great way to start your open source journey with a particular organization, um, here you can see like you just pick an issue which like you think you can solve, and then you can like simply drop a comment tagging the maintainers of the project that you want to work on this issue, so please assign me, and the maintainers will assign you, and then you'll simply go and fork the website and then do the changes. So as you see, the open source process involves Git and GitHub at every step of the like the process. So Git and GitHub are two essential things, or the prerequisite which you need to have before starting to contribute. Um, uh, okay. Uh, what basic knowledge do we need to get started? So, so there are various type of projects here. So if you see the Kubernetes organization, that we have the upstream Kubernetes, which is the actual Kubernetes project, which is used by many companies all around the world. So if you want to contribute to this, then you must be having some knowledge of Golang and uh, like cloud technologies such as Docker and Kubernetes, like the working idea of these tools. So if you have that prerequisite, then you can surely start contributing. Otherwise, if you have like if you are into web development and stuff, then you can like you can work on this Kubernetes website like project. Otherwise, we have the this is the repository for sorry, this is the website for the end users, like those who are using Kubernetes. But for Kubernetes contributors, we also have kubernetes.dev. So this is also another website. So if you are into web development, you can surely contribute to these projects. And if you are into automation, then there's another SIG called as SIG contributes. So SIG are basically special interest groups. So since the Kubernetes community is too large, they have divided the community into small groups known as special interest groups. So the channel, like the SIG docs that I showed you, was like special interest groups for documentation. So if you're into technical writing or web development, then SIG docs is the best place to start your journey. And most of the beginners start their journey from SIG docs or SIG contributes. So SIG contributes basically stands for contributor experience. So here you'll find a couple of automation works that folks are doing, and not no code contributions. So these two are the best place for beginners to start involved in the with the Kubernetes community. And apart from that, if you have any specific thing in mind that I want to work on the cluster API thing, or the infrastructure team, so we also have the same for that. Like if you search for SIG infra, then yeah, SIG caters infra. So this channel takes care of all the infrastructure things, and you'll see once you are in the like started contributing, we'll see a bot as Caters CI robot. That's basically a GitHub bot which takes care of everything. So people generally work on. So this bot is the bot which is maintained by the Cicatus infra and stuff. So if you're into those stuff, you can join KTS infra, or there's also SIG testing if you're into testing and stuff. So yeah, it depends on what your actual interest lies, and you can surely. Also, there are projects regarding Python and Java. Like we have the Python client for Kubernetes, Java client for Kubernetes, Go client also there. So most of the projects in the CNCF community uses Golang as their primary language. So yeah, if you're into cloud and stuff, so Golang is pretty helpful. So as you saw just now that the process requires your knowledge of Git and GitHub. So let's have a demo of like how or what are the like minimum knowledge you should have of Git and GitHub so to actually get started with open source. So what is one repository? Okay. Um, so let's say I have this. Let me. Okay, I have already forked. So let me delete this fork and I'll again start from scratch. Um, just give me a moment. Okay, that's deleted. So we have another organization for Kubernetes 6. So suppose this is the example repository. So this is what is called as a repository in GitHub. So you must be thinking like what is the actual difference of Git and GitHub? So Git and GitHub are two completely separate things. Like Git is used for version control system, like it maintains each and every version of your code as you go on changing it. And also Git is configured locally in your system. It's nothing related to cloud, or it's not using any cloud service. But GitHub, on the other hand, is just a storage place for your code base. You just like GitHub just provides a platform to store your code, and you can basically collaborate. Multiple people can collaborate on a single project. So GitHub is basically a service, and Git is a tool. So you can find several services similar to GitHub, like GitLab, Bitbucket, and stuff. And Git is a version control system, and there are also other version control systems such as AWS Code Commit, Azure DevOps, and there are also a few, but people generally use Git. So you can use Git with GitHub as well as GitLab. Anywhere your SSH is configured, you can use Git there. So there's actually no relation between Git and GitHub. Git is just, I mean, it is configured locally, and you can like it helps you to manage the versions of your code. So um, so you can see uh, gitscm.com. So this is the official site for Git. Um, Here you have the documentation, and you can download and install Git in your local system. And you can also create a new GitHub account if you haven't created yet. And after doing these prerequisites, you can go ahead so suppose this is the project which you are planning to contribute to. So what you do is, the first thing you do is create a fork. So fork, basically what it does is it creates a copy of the parent project in your account. So as you can see here, this is my account, and here below it says forked from Kubernetes 6 contributor playground. So this essentially made a complete copy of this project into in my account. So now as your a copy of that project is made in your account. So now what you do is you get the SSH link. Like HTTPS is not used nowadays. Most of the people use the SSH stuff. So, uh, let me- just let me know if it's visible. Should I enlarge it more?
Yeah, it's visible. Totally fine.
It's visible. Cool. So after copying the SSH link, what you do is, let me go to the um, document. So let me create a new mm, directory known as, let me as of now do temp. So if you see, I have a temp directory here. So I'll go inside that that directory, and then I'll do git clone and copy the link. Oh, sorry. Um, yeah, I've copied the link. Now paste it here. So what it does is, you like the first thing you did is fork the parent repository to your account. So like the there's a nomenclature or the convention. So the main project is known as the parent repository. So for this case, this repository is known as the parent repository, and the forked one is known as the child repository. So what clone does is, it basically creates a complete copy of that, of your fork. Like if you give the SSH link of this one, it will create a copy of this repository. Otherwise, if you give a copy of like if you give the link of this repository, it will create a copy of the same. The only difference is you don't have permission to directly push to this. Like there are permissions and stuff, so you won't have the direct permission to push to this repository. So you have to, like in general open source repositories, you first have to fork that and clone it in your local system. So when I do git clone, it will start cloning into my local system. It will create the same copy of the forked repository. Might take some time. Okay.
Yeah, just to add one thing, like for those who are Windows user, you have to download something called Git client, Git GUI client. Like because Pritish have Mac and a few of you have Linux, so you already have pre-installed Git. And if you are in Windows, then you have to download a client, Git client. Then you can start. Like you can do the same thing.
Um, you meant the GitHub desktop?
No, no, not GitHub desktop. There is a something called GitHub client, GitHub GUI client. It is
Oh,
for
okay, okay.
Windows. Yeah,
So, okay, the Git bash.
yeah, Git Bash.
Okay, yeah, yeah, right, right. For Windows, we have to configure Git bash locally. Hmm. Right. So, like you can just Google how to configure Git on Windows, and you'll get several articles on that. You can just follow any one of them. So, as you can see, before we had like empty directory, but now we have this contributor playground directory. So, if you go into contributor playground, we'll see uh, we'll see all the like all the files and folders that we have in the actual one. So you can see all these are in my local system now. So after that, what you have to do is, suppose you found a bug in the readme, like some link is broken. So suppose this link is broken. So what you can do is, I'll I'll just open it on VS Code. Okay, so this will be looking a bit familiar. So as you can see, there are all the folders here and all the files which we had in the fork repository. And now what you can do is, suppose this link is broken, you can put the correct link, like let's say do a certain change here. So when you change something, oh wait, before that, there are some best practices in while using Git and GitHub. So so like previously we had like master branch as the default branch of a repository. but now GitHub has changed it to main. So you might find master somewhere and main somewhere, or any custom branches if any organization does. So the like the branch which you see here will be the default branch. Like when you visit the repository, the branch mentioned will be your default branch. So it's like it's always what do I say, advisable to make a new branch, like if you're working on a particular issue, then make a new branch for that issue, and then solve the issue by making changes to the files and to the code base, and then you send a PI from that branch. So for example, I have so as you can see here, I am still in the master branch. So um, in order to jump to a new branch, what you can do is there are some git commands which you need to what do I say, remember. So you can give like, so here we are doing git checkout dash b and a new branch name. So I'll be giving it new branch. So as you can see, what checkout does is you are in the master branch, so it will check out to a new branch from the master branch. So it will just create a copy of the master branch, and it will give it a name of new branch. So when I press enter, so you can see now I'm in a branch named as new branch. So here what I can do the required changes. So suppose this is not the correct link, so I'll change something, or I'll paste some other link which is actually correct. And then if you see git status, so git status shows you the files or the code which has been changed. So as you can see here, we have modified the readme.md file. So there's a process in Git. So whenever you make a new change, it will be like what do I say? First, it will be untracked. Like now, currently the readme.md change is untracked. So in order to track it, or in order to stage the in Git we say it as stage. So in order to stage that change, we have to give git add, and then if you give dot, then if you have multiple files, all will be staged. Otherwise, if you want to stage this particular file, then you can give readme.md. So now if you see git status, so see previously it was red, now it has turned to green. So this shows that this file is being tracked and it's already staged. So once it's staged, you have to push that to your like origin. So what do I say? There's also a concept of origin and upstream. Okay, I'll show you this one. After that, I'll tell about that quickly. So once you have staged the file by doing git add and the file name, you can just do git commit dash m and give a commit message. So dash m is the flag for message, and here you can give a message as fixed readme YouTube link. Okay. So as you can see here, when I press enter, you'll have one commit. So if I see git logs, oh sorry, git log, so you can see the latest commit here. Okay, let me show you a beautified structure of that. So as you can see, these all are the if you see merge pull request from chosen to, so this one will be the latest commit here. See, You can see merge pull request from Josen to. So this was the latest commit that was added to that repository. So after that, you added the commit that you like, the fix for the commit, that is fixed readme YouTube link. So I have that commit, and after that I can do git push origin main. Oh, sorry, it won't be main. It will be new branch. So I'll push to that branch. Wait a minute. I'll show you. Let me exit this, and yeah. So here, if you refresh it, you will have two branches. Here you have the new branch. So new branch, you can see your branch is one commit ahead of Kubernetes 6 master. So this is the parent repository, and it says that this branch is one commit ahead of the parent repository. So what you have to do is, now GitHub by default provide this pop-up, so you can just compare and pull request, and then you have that. See, I changed this to this, and we have, this is what is called as a like pull request. So here you can see like this arrow shows from which repository and which branch the code is being pushed to which repository and which branch. So as you can see here, I the code is being pushed from my repositories for, and from a branch named new branch to the parent repository master branch. So the tail of the the head of the arrow will show to which repository we are pushing the changes, and the tail will be from which repository the changes are being pushed. So this is basically the basics of Git and GitHub you need to learn in order to start contributing. So there's one more thing as concept of origin and upstream. Um, so let me show you something visually. Um, 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 just a minute. Okay, so right now I have I'm not going to make this pull request because this is not a correct pull request. So this was just for a demo purpose. Um, okay. Animal. So it's a little bit hard to keep up with you. Um, okay. Which part did you not get? I can surely repeat that part. Money. Okay. Till that time. Oh yeah, Vedant has shared a really great cheat sheet. Uh, so okay, now I am going to tell you about um, 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 yes, there should be text somewhere. Yeah. So origin versus upstream. So yeah. So what origin is basically? I'll show you. So origin is basically my brand, that is Cypher Tron slash contributor playground. So this is the origin for me because origin is basically your own fork. So this will be the origin in this case, and upstream will be. Let me show you. So upstream will be Kubernetes 6 slash contributor playground. So um, so essentially what these things are, if you have learned like basics of pointers in C++, these are called as remote. Um, they are basically called as remotes in Git. So remote is like if you take an analogy of C++ and Git, uh, remote is similar to the concept of pointers in C++. So remote is like if you see here, uh, let me clear the terminal, and if I give git remote dash v, it will show me this stuff. Okay. So now you can see there are two links as origin and other two as upstream. So what this actually denotes is you have two pointers because Git is totally local. Git has nothing to do with GitHub or cloud. GitHub is basically a client, so you can like what they say communicate between Git and GitHub, but Git has nothing to do with the like what GitHub does. So you have to let Git know that this is your own repository of the fork of the parent repository, and this is the link to the upstream repository or the parent repository. So what adding remotes do is suppose you have you want to pull the like because these are really large projects, right? So suppose while you are doing your change, there are some 7 to 8 commits added in this parent repository. uh, it means like 2 to 3 pull requests were merged and the commits have increased. So in order to keep your fork even with the upstream repository, what you can do is you can get pull from upstream and master. So there's another command which git provides, that is pull. So if you push, that is you're pushing the changed code to some repository, but git pull is you basically are pulling from that repository the changes. So suppose you have some new changes here and you want them in your local system, then you do git pull upstream master. So now it will say that it is up to date because we are basically even with the upstream repository. But if that wasn't the case, then it would have been like pulled from the like upstream. That it would have pulled the changes from upstream repository. So as you can see here, it has showed us already up to date. Ignore this. This is like I have to configure my Git, but here as you can see, it is already up to date. So that was basically the concept. So I said like in C++ we have pointers. So the remote is basically it points to repositories in GitHub. So origin will be your fork repository. It will point to this one. So you can do all type of operations like git pull, git push, and stuff like as we saw here. Uh, um, as you saw here, git pull is the command, and upstream like here instead of upstream you can also have written main. Sorry, origin, because this is where the remote name comes in. So you have two remotes, origin and upstream. Depending on what you require, uh, you can just add your remote there. So if I do git pull origin master, so it will also be up to date, so it won't show anything. Yeah, as you can see, up to date because we have a single commit with us, like we are ahead of it, so we don't have anything to pull from the origin main master. So yeah, the general convention is git, then the command name, then the remote name, and then the branch name. So yeah. those remotes are basically the pointers. So suppose you have let's say I want to okay, let's see a pull request. So suppose I want to like I want to pull these changes, because you can see this branch is one commit ahead of the upstream repository, but our like we don't have this commit. So what we can do is we can copy this SSH link and we can give git remote add, and then let me give temp for now, and then we'll add that link. So now if you see, let me clear the terminal and get remote dash b. Now also six like three remotes for both fetch and push. So as you can see here, we have a temp remote also. So what if we like get pull and then temp, and was it master or which branch? Test slash CLA. So if we do test slash CLA, so you can see that one commit will be pulled. Okay, there are like some merge conflicts. So like you basically have to, because it's not rebase, so you basically have to merge it. Okay, so yeah, basically that what you should do in that case. Um, 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 me about the merge. Okay. So in that way, you can basically pull and push code from anyone's account, provided you have the permissions. Because if I want to push some other changes to this repository, I can directly push, because uh, I'm not permitted to push to this repository. So Git will show that you don't have the correct repository rights to uh, push to this branch. So that's it depends on the permissions. So that was all about Git and GitHub. Himika, what exactly is pulling? Uh, I hope you must have understood by now what pulling is. It's basically to pull the changes from one branch to another. So yeah. Um, mm, okay, that was it. Anything else? Oh yeah. Uh, that was the basics of Git and GitHub. Um, because like these are the prerequisites which you need to know in order to like get started into like contributing to open source. So that was it. If you have any queries, you can like drop your questions now. Otherwise, if you like afterwards, if you find any difficulty, you can surely reach out to me on these platforms. So Pritisamal.tech is my personal website, so you can find all the information there regarding my social media links and stuff. So otherwise, I'm available on GitHub. Uh, I know it's a weird name, but I couldn't come up with a better username, so please bear with it. Also,
That's
I'm active on Twitter, and my DMs are open. So yeah,
even
feel
I have
free.
a weird name in social, like Mr. Palindrome. It's really weird.
Yes, it happens with uh, everyone actually.
Yeah,
The mail IDs and the GitHub usernames are hilarious, I must say.
yeah. Well, that was really interactive session. Actually, we most of us found that helpful. Actually, it was really focusing on the concepts of Git and GitHub actually. And
Yeah,
as you told us, like the different open source platforms, like about MLH and different programs, like yeah, I guess everyone should try these.
right,
Everyone should
right,
try this because this is the because we are in college and this is the time to start in open source. Like open source definitely have a like big opportunity for us.
right, right.
Yeah.
Also, let me put the links in the chat if you want to like apply to um these programs. So the LFX mentorship program is open, like the spring batch of LFX is open till like the application are open till day after tomorrow. So you might want to hurry in, like if you want to apply for this batch. Otherwise, LFX also conducts 3 batches per year: the spring batch, summer batch, and fall batch. So you can apply to any batch. So okay. This is the mentorship. So here you can find all the participating projects that are currently for this batch. And for MLH Fellowship, you can go to, like, if you are into prep program, then you can apply from this link. Otherwise, for the 12-week long fellowship, you can apply through this link.
Actually,
And
what I think, like MLH Fellowship is like for those who are only into open source, you know.
no, actually, if you see right now, it has they have increased their tracks. So you can see for Indians, we have open source track, software engineering track, and um, I don't know about production engineering if it's allowed for people from India. I guess it's only US based. So where did it go? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I have seen people mostly get selected in these two tracks. So open source track, you basically deal with the open source projects of Facebook, Amazon, even organizations that are participating in GSOC and stuff. But in software engineering track, I think you get to work on either open source. It may be open source, or it can be also closed source, because here also, a software engineering track, uh, companies like Facebook, Amazon, American Express, GitHub, so these they participate. So some of their projects might be closed source, some of them might be open source, so depending on that. So software engineering is basically, um, what do I say, proper internship type, like in software engineering role.
Yeah, and they pay and they give stipend in each and every track.
Yeah. In actual fellowship, like these are the 12-week long fellowships. So
Yeah.
in that you get stipend. But in the prep program, like the one nine, so in this one you don't get a stipend, but yeah, the exposure is great, I would say, here also.
Yeah, that's really great. So, if you guys have any question related to this, like any question, then you can unmute yourself, or you can ask the doubt in the chat box. Like I'm opening the mic for everyone. Everyone can unmute yourself. Like if you guys have any question, if you want to unmute yourself and ask, then go ahead, please. Yeah, there is a question.
Uh, are there any examples of open source in React? Okay, so if you are willing to work on projects based on React, I would say Layer 5 and Meshery have some great projects on React and Gatsby, Next.js, and stuff. And some other organizations include Anita B org. So that organization also like participate in these programs, and they have projects based on React. Otherwise, like if you're going for a higher level project, then I would say Rocket Chat, Zulip, and also they are like they have their website on React and apps on React Native. So it's completely React based. So if you want, you can check those out.
Yeah,
Uh,
and even React is also an open source project. If you want to contribute
right,
in React, you can definitely do that. Yeah.
right. Um, okay. How can a beginner get selection? And okay, I guess Nayan can
Yeah, yeah,
give
yeah.
insights on that.
yeah, we'll be having another session on 13, I guess, in which we'll be talking about Git Summer of Code. And Git Summer of Code is totally for beginners actually. If you are a really beginner, if you just want to kickstart your journey, they there are like very basic website in the project section. They will be having very basic websites in which you can contribute, and there's no such prerequisite like you should know web development or Android development. If you know only C plus, then you can participate in it. There's no such criteria.
Um, which tech stack is best for open source? Okay, so that solely depends on your interest. Like if you are into web development, then there are wide varieties of tech stack that you can use. Say, if you are into front end development, you can use React, you can use Angular, you can use Vue, Svelte, and many more. So it totally depends on. So if you are into backend, then instead of like JavaScript frameworks, all the other languages also come into play. So there are like Flask, Django, Node, Express, Nest, Golang, and many other. So it solely depends on what you like to like you have interest in. So if you have interest in front end, then find those organizations specific like having specific projects for front end, and then you see what frameworks they are using. If React is your interest, then search for organizations which are using only React. So yeah. Also um let me see. So in GSOC archive, okay, you might want to check this one too. Uh, so this is the official announcement of GSOC 2022. You can find all the details here.
Yeah.
But apart from that, GSOC archive. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. So you can search for the archive of any year, maybe 2021, 2020, or 2019, and you can search for organizations here. So we have categories here. So if you are into end user application, that is, end user will contain it can contain anything like it can contain front end or back end or app development or machine learning or cloud and DevOps. So it can contain anything. So end user application and infrastructure and cloud will only contain the cloud computing stuff, and media will contain the video and audio players. So and web, if you are looking for web based projects, these are the projects you can opt for. And social and communication, here you'll find, see, you have Rocket Chat, so and Zulip. So these two are completely based on React, these projects, and React Native. So you can okay. Can I do open source in Android development? Of course you can, of course, because as you've seen, like just now I was talking about Rocket Chat, so they have their application in React Native. So if you are into React Native, you can check out this organization. If you are into Flutter, I guess Palisados use Flutter, and Opia also another organization which has app-based projects. And yeah, you can definitely do open source in Android development.
Yeah, actually, some of them also having this question. Like we all have this question. Like, if I'm doing open source full time, then how
Mhm.
can I get paid? Like, what is the source of income?
Okay. So, like for engineers who are engineers or like developers who are into open source full time, they actually get paid. For example, like since my beginning of my open source journey, I had one mentor who is not from my college, but from other college. His name is Harshvardhan Mishra. So he is currently a full-time open source engineer at a certain organization, and he also gets paid for that. So if you are into full-time, they'll of course pay you.
Yeah, and there's some kind of option like sponsorship, I guess, in GitHub. Like, some anyone can sponsor you.
Yeah, I haven't used it, so can't really like comment on that. But Yeah, I have seen repositories using the sponsor feature now.
Okay.
That's a great way to like grow your open source projects. Honestly.
Yeah. I guess no one has any question. Uh,
Okay, yeah. So
okay.
again, if you want to like reach out to me, you can reach out on any
Yeah.
platform. If you want to reach out to me on GitHub, you can like open an issue on any of my repository. I'll surely reply to that.
Okay,
Uh,
so it was a really nice session actually, and thank you, Pritish, for giving us your invaluable time. Actually, very like
I'm I'm
your
really
experience.
glad that
Yeah, yeah,
it was actually of some help.
yeah. And sharing your experience was also like great. And I would also like to thank our audience for being patient and calm down. Actually, like they were
Actually,
all yeah all were calm throughout the event, and like there's like very few of them are left. So I'm going to just share a link of feedback form. If you want, you can please fill the feedback form. I'll be sharing the link also in the chat in the WhatsApp group. And wait, let me share
also,
it now.
if you want to like if you want the slides, then I can surely
Yeah,
drop the
yeah.
link to it.
This is a feedback form. I'll be sharing the feedback form also in the WhatsApp group.
This is the link to the slides. Just a minute. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. And I hope to see all of you again in 13, because we'll be having another session with one speaker like Mr. Shubham. He's also an open source contributor, and last year in Gazprom Summer of Code he stood in top 10. So I hope to see you all again in that session. So thank you everyone. Goodbye for now, and
Thank you.
thank you Pratish once again for
Thank you so much. The audience were really great. I mean, in the game they were answering so quick, and the enthusiasm was real.
yeah, exactly. So thank you everyone, and thank you Pratish, and good night and goodbye for now.
Bye bye, folks.
Bye bye.
Hi, Soham.
Bye, Nayan.